My name is Colin Northmore. If you haven't met me, I'm the principal of Evolve Online. And joining me this evening on the call is Mrs. Laura Foote, our head of academics. For those of you who have made contact with us, some of you may already have had conversations with Laura about the curriculum and the way in which we're structuring that as we go forward. And what I'm planning to do is to just take you through about a 20-minute presentation on how Evolve Online uses Blackboard Ultra, what Blackboard Ultra is, how it works, how your children will engage with it. We got some exciting news today, which I'll share with you. I'm also going to, at the end, just share with you some of the plans that we have for the next sort of couple of months in terms of the things we want to offer your children on our platform and what we're capable of doing there. The other thing I just want to mention is the question section is open. And thank you to all the people who noted that I had cleverly given the introduction without having switched my microphone on. It happens. What can I say? Sorry about that. And what I will do is, as we talk, if there are questions that occur to you, please feel free, pop them in the question box. Laura will try and answer that for you straight away. I'm sure that if I had carried on without my microphone on, I would have got a call from Laura very quickly. But what I am going to do is switch my camera off because I'll be working on the screen to demonstrate things. And it's very disconcerting if someone's looking away and it doesn't look as if they're looking at you. So I'll just turn the camera off and then talk you through Blackboard Ultra. I'm going to show it to you a little bit from the student's point of view, first of all, your child, what your child will see when they log in. And then I'll move over to the teacher platform and give you some insight into what's happening in the back end of the Ultra platform. And right at the end, if there are questions outside of Blackboard Ultra that you want to raise or ask about, feel free to do so. All right, let's get started for real. What you see before you is the logon screen that children have to get into Blackboard Ultra in the first place. It's been a bit of a slow process because the way it works is once a child is added to the system, they get a username and password allocated to them. And then only after that's been done does that then go through to what we call the ITSU team in group shared services. They then have to add your child to the Blackboard Ultra system. That takes another day or so. And so it's quite slow to get going. But luckily for us, after us asking, they've now added this new feature. It's called sign in with a third-party account. And that allows you to log in with your with the original credentials that you're given right up front. So now there's no longer a delay in getting on the system. But most of you already have your username and password, and you just fill it in here as normal, and you click sign in, or your children do, and they will go into their Blackboard Ultra platform. And this is what they will see when they go in. First and foremost, they're taken to their activity stream. In their activity stream, they see some of the things that are brought to their attention. You can see in this particular case, there's a mathematics piece of homework that is overdue or due, and it was due on the 12th of the 2nd. Well, it is due. It's coming up, so it's alerting this child to the fact that that's the next piece of work that's up, and they can dismiss that, and it will pop up whenever there's a new thing coming up to warn them about it. Also, any other upcoming work is listed. Then they go on to what's due today. And in this case, what they're being told is that new content has been added to their course, and they can click on that and it'll take them straight to the new content. I won't do that now. And again, if they click over here, it'll take them straight to the task. So if they see, oh, I need to do this, it's overdue. It is overdue. I see that's why it's red. Oh, I'm overdue here. I can click on that. It'll take me to the homework and I'll be able to get it done. Okay. This menu on the left is the main menu and stays persistent throughout. The next button or the next thing down is the courses list. And in this particular case, your child can then see all the courses. This is a level 10 set of courses. So there's level 10 discovery, English discovery ideas. The discovery part is just the class they're in. The classes in level 10 and 8 and 9 are named after the shuttles that went through to the space went to the space out into space. So this is the discovery class. There's a mathematics course, an ideas course, an English course, and a digital mastery course. And what's coming up next, they will see it pop up this week, is their life coaching course will pop up as well. So their method for communicating with their life coach and the life coach sharing materials with them will pop up as an additional course. Children can look at it in a list view like this, or they can look at it in a block view, whichever they find easier to work with. It doesn't really matter which view they work in. Obviously, they haven't got many courses, so they don't have to search them. You'll see when I go onto my platform, I have every single course on my list, and if I really want to hone in, I'm going to have to do it there. Okay, so that's their courses.
Sorry, just to mention that also that town hall will be added there too for feedback.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So we started our town halls with the kids. I think we've done the level 10 town hall already, and that's a digital equivalent of an assembly, which Mrs. Foot and I run with the kids at a grade level, so it's the entire level that joins us for town hall, not just a single class. We got some great feedback from the kids yesterday and today. We got more town halls tomorrow with them. The next thing on the list is organizations. We don't have organizations yet, but if we wanted to open up a digital gaming competitive gaming club, we might put that in here. If we wanted a chess club or anything like that, that could end up in here. So if you think about your university days, because remember, this platform was built for universities, it's the equivalent of going around and signing up for different societies and that sort of thing. Next up is the calendar. The calendar shows them all the work that is required for all the courses and all the live sessions that they have day by day or month by month. So if I move on to the next one, you'll see that tomorrow there's a mathematics class for this class at 8 o'clock, and then they have ideas at 12:30. What you will see as well, if you go to the top of this, is any work that is due related to these particular courses that the children are doing. So they'll see that as well. And if they put it in a month view, then they get to see, there's quite a lot of different items that are coming up. Please don't be fooled by the apparent sparseness of this calendar. Remember that these sessions refer to the live sessions, not to the work children have to do offline. There's a whole lot of work they have to do offline. And as their classes come up, I don't see any English classes here, Laura. I think that just needs to be added to the calendar. But as the courses come up, your child can just check to see in the morning when they go in, they're just going to go in here and they're going to say, okay, what's my schedule look like today? What is it I have to do today? And then we have the messages section. In this main menu, the messages are grouped according to the courses that they're in. So they have to click on the course, and then they'll see all the messages that relate to that course, if there have been any. If there are messages or new messages, it will show up here. It will tell them if they have new messages and read messages, and that all shows up there. The next section is the marks section, and again, this is the section where they see the marks they're getting. This child is doing very well in mathematics, as you can see. And then when it comes to these, they haven't submitted these. So then they see that's the case. They can say, okay, so this is the part of the work that we're saying the children have to do, even though it's not it doesn't necessarily appear as if there's a lot of work. There is actually a tremendous amount of work that the children are doing, and they need to make sure that they complete this work. So this child's thing for tomorrow needs to be to jump in. Now, as this data accumulates and as the life coaches get up to speed, they're going to be looking at this data before meeting with your children and saying, hang on a second, you haven't handed this stuff in, what's the story? And likewise, the life coach will also, not the life coach, the teacher, the activator will also be jumping on this, because they will get to see when things are not being handed in, and they will start pestering children and saying, this is a problem. And as you could see from the activity stream also alerts children when when they have not done something. And there's an activity stream like that for teachers as well. And what pops up in there is a list of the kids who have not handed in work so that it can be followed up on. Okay, so that's the mark section, and you can see your marks at a glance across all your learning areas. If there's been marks, work allocated to you, then you will see the work is either, and then you can see the status. This piece hasn't been submitted. There's a draft that's been saved. That one has been submitted. So this child has obviously started doing the work, but hasn't submitted it yet, and it's now late. And they can still submit it even if it's late. These are not marked. In other words, these were application exercises as opposed to mastery exercises. The tools section we don't really use at the moment, and you know, as the goals section and the portfolio section, we will use as the year progresses. If any of you have attended my How to Register for the Department of Education webinar, you'll know that one of the things they want is a portfolio of your child's work, and this is where we will keep that portfolio. And if we have any content collections like libraries or files or any surveys that we do, all of that content is kept in here. Sometimes it also relates to the university because we all share the same platform. All right, let's go into the courses now and dig down a little bit. If you go into a course by clicking on it, you get an overlay. So you'll see this X that pops up on the left-hand side. That allows you to, so the way it works, and this is a design that allows for mobile friendliness. It takes up the entire screen, but it shows you what's underneath. So it always lays things on top of one another. Over here, you have your various menus and items that you have. So first of all, there's the class register. I'm not going to click on it because it will reveal names, and people can see what's in there, you know, who's in their course. Then they have the live session. This is where they join their live session. So if they click there, it's going to give them the opportunity to go into their course room. And then there are these three dots to the right of the Blackboard Collaborate. And those three dots are where all the recordings of this particular course are kept. And so if you go into that, you'll get a list of all the recordings. And it's just taking a moment or six. And then you can go back, and that's where you go back and you watch any of the lessons that you may have missed, or where you need a reminder about what went on. You can view your attendance here. It keeps attendance automatically, so we know when children have attended or not. And again, there's alerts that get sent to the teacher if children don't attend. If we have groups, which we will be having, they'll be able to view their groups. We will put children in groups sometimes. Sometimes we let children choose which groups they want to be in. You can see there are no announcements in this course. And then once again, institution tools if you want to. Okay, so that's the main sort of course menu. That's how you navigate through the different features of your course. If you look over here, you have the structure of your course. Okay, so this particular course is broken up into a series of modules. There's a session called My Notification Sessions, or My Notification Settings, or How Not to Be a Barry. There's an Introduction to Digital Mastery. There's Introductions and Introducing the Project, Using a Search Engine efficiently for research, and then Design and Marketing is a module. And then there's a something different section for kids in this particular course. When you click on that, this is called a module. When you click on that module, you get what we call the learning stream. So this is the process one has to follow in order to learn that. And it may include a number of mastery tasks. You'll see we'll almost inevitably conclude with the mastery task because that's our design. You do the learning, you do the application, and then when you're ready, you take your mastery, you take your mastery task. The different icons here, the children will get to know them. They have different meanings. So, for example, this is a document. Here is a little assignment, another 3 documents, and then there's a journal, and then there's a test, and this is a discussion. Okay. If you click on one of these now, you get into the actual learning and you'll see another layer goes on. So in this particular case, it's a video that they have to watch. They've got some instructions up front because during the video there's a test that they have to do. It's a task that shows how what's called switch tasking, what we usually call multitasking, but what is known as switch tasking, actually reduces your cognitive ability and reduces your accuracy and your speed. And then, you know, there's more work that they can learn about what multitasking does to the brain. And then there's a session that the teachers will be in, and so forth and so on. If you go down to this module, for example, you'll see these are now what we call folders. So a module can just have the items that they're learning, and it can be broken down into folders. In the case of the grade 1, 2s, and 3s, or our level 1s to 4s, the teachers actually do a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday folder so that there's actual structure for children to know. On Monday, this is the work I must do, and on Tuesday, this is the work I must do. And if you go into the first task, you'll see this is a discussion, and they get to meet one another. If I click on that, it'll take me into a discussion group, and people have a task to do: create your first epic video to introduce yourself. And yeah, all the kids, I better close it down because I'm showing names and faces. And so they've created a video to introduce themselves to each other. And then there's introduce your teams, share your team PowerPoint. And then there was a file at Magic, creating a shared file in OneDrive, and so forth. And then there's the self-assessment at the end of this module. So that's the learning stream, or the way in which they are learning things. If I go into the ideas course for this child, they're busy doing the Going to Mars course, and they're on their way to Mars. So there's the Department of Research and Development where they started. There was Project Genesis, so you'll see the folders again. And you'll remember that there was some work that was overdue here. And so there's the mission briefing. There's a little test or two little assessments. Then there's an emergency report on cells. This is actually, I think, a Labster session, so where they go into the laboratory to do a laboratory session, and it just takes a little while to load, and I'm going to let it load just so that you get a view of it, unless my bandwidth is going to let me down. It shouldn't though. Come on, computer, don't let me down. I'm actually going to leave that up, and I'm going to go log in here again. There we go. So that while that's busy loading, actually start it again. So this little icon is actually telling you that there is what's called an LTI, or a added tool, and the added tool is in fact the Labster tool. And it should load in a moment, but I'm going to just carry on in the meantime. I go back to that course and back to the ideas course. What we have is in Project Genesis, it's going to end off with, there's actually a link to a mission briefing, and then there's a report that they have to fill in, create a digital mind map. So that's a task they have to do, and that might be for marks. And then there's Project Eli McCoy, mission briefing, mission report, briefing, and then the mission report is a test at the end. And that's how the teachers have structured these particular courses. The next course is they're looking at colonization. They're in the Chancellor's office now. What does colonization mean? If we go into there, we will find something that they have to read around colonization. There's a link to the history, a link to synonyms, and so they can go into research. This is probably asynchronous, and then they've got to have an opinion. So they go in here and they have to discuss. And the way that the report works is, if you haven't posted a response, you can't see what everybody else has posted. So you've got to first post a response before you can. You have to first post a response before you can see other people's. So you can't read other people's stuff and then just copy what they've said. But once you've posted a response, you can get into the discussion around that. And that really is, I'm going to see if I can launch this from my other. I'm quite disappointed that this hasn't worked, but I must actually follow up on why. It worked last time I tried it. That's the law of demonstrating things. And anybody who's worked with computers knows to really fill up, you need a computer. Error is human, but to really fill up, you need a computer. I'm popping you across now to my side of things. This is the back end. This is my profile as a teacher. I also have an activity stream, and my activity stream is impossibly long because I'm seeing all the upcoming assignments. I'm seeing everything that's due right across the school. So does Mrs. Foote. She has the same profile as me, so she gets to see all the work that's due across the entire school. We have access to all the courses. So if I go to that same course that I was just demonstrating for you, let's just say Discovery, because of course I've got everybody. And if I go to level 10 ideas discovery, and I pop into there, I can see the courses that are still coming. So at the moment, the research and development course has been made available. The Chancellor's office has been made available. If I feel like having fun, I can move it around. There's still a reconnaissance officer's course and a captain's course, and this is the area where the teachers work in this, and they can make things visible or hide them from students depending on the rate that children are progressing at. They also would join, I would join the session here, but you'll see that I have a lot more available to me here in terms of things I can do. I can look at the report as to how many people participated. We can see the comments that children have made. We can change the settings in the room. We can view all the recordings, etc. What we can also do is have a look at, we can actually mark attendance if we want to. Announcements, we've posted an announcement here. Will be a town hall meeting. Please click here to move to the town hall meeting. So that's, they were told about the town hall there. If there are question banks, and then teachers can also go into a student preview mode where they're able to see what's going on there. I missed out on a set of menus, so I'm just going to go back here quickly because this is the good news that I had of something they got working for us today. So you've got your left-hand menu, you've got your course content, but then at the top here, you have a number of other opportunities or other icons that give you access to things. We're in the course icon moment. You can see that it's given you the schedule for this particular course. So they met today at 12, or they're meeting tomorrow at 12:35. On Thursday, their meeting is at 9:15. And if I click on the other meeting time, you'll see their Friday event is on the 11th, so on the Friday. Okay, so that they can see at a glance when their next live courses are due. There's also a calendar icon, and in this case, the calendar is specific to this course itself. So it won't show you anything that is not related to this specific course. If there are items that are due for this course, you will see it in here. There's the discussion icon, which is where you can see they're discussing whether or not colonization is right or wrong. Again, this person is going to have to post a response before they can see the detail there. And then there's a grade book, which is for this particular course, where again they can see the marks that they are getting for their specific course. And Mrs. Foote is telling the kids, our first week has been a little bit of a disappointment, really, in the sense that the kids have not yet quite applied themselves. So what we're saying to them in life, in the town halls, please guys, you know, it's not just a case of you work when you're live on a class. There's a lot of work for you to do on your own. We expect you to do that work, and we're going to start cracking down from this week on it. So all of the kids who've got overdue work are going to start getting responses from their teachers saying, hey, you need to hand this stuff in. You're not doing the work. It's going to build up on you, and you're going to fall behind the pacing. And then this is the new icon, the one that, well, this part's not new, but this is where any messages are available. But what's been added is this lovely plus sign, yay, at last. Because what that allows your child to do is to actually communicate with their teacher. So if they want to ask their teacher a question, all the teachers pop up. They can send a message to Mrs. Foote. And they can say, and maybe they also want to send a message to Mrs. Baker, and so it'll send a message to both of them. and then they can just go here and say, hi, ma'am, I'm struggling, struggling with the course. I haven't submitted it yet because I don't quite know. And then they click send. Okay. I would prefer them not to send an email copy. I want our communications to be kept within Blackboard Ultra. So all communications to and from teachers, it happens in here. Also, if they want to book a session in the afternoons with their teachers, this is where they would do it. They can also meet with one of their pupils, so if they, one of their peers. So if they click on the 13 more, the list of names will pop down, and all the kids that are in this course will appear, and they can message one another within here. So there's no need for them to use things like WhatsApp or any of the other social media platforms to talk to one another. From now on, they can actually hold conversations right here within this particular app. And then I'm just going to close this without saving because I don't want to mess with this particular profile. Okay, so that's the new thing that was added today, the ability for us to allow children to communicate with their teachers. And it was switched off inadvertently, really, I was told. So from that perspective, I'm glad that it's been made live. And then, I'm back in the teacher side of things, and the teachers obviously have more functionality. We can look at an analysis of, let me quickly see if I can get this to show properly. Nope. Yeah, there we go. We can look at an analysis of a course, and we can say, give me an analysis. Tell me how much, when are children logging in? How many children are doing their assessments? Run a report on this assessment. Run a report on that assessment. Statistics on performance, and then there are other machine learning elements in the back end that we get through a Power BI dashboard, which tells us about children's participation and their progress as we go along. So that's really the full. It's not complicated. It's a pretty straightforward system. I've taken a little bit longer than I intended to, but what I plan to do now is just to turn to the questions you've been asking and just start to respond. I'll jump past the warnings that my microphone wasn't on. Okay, so if you let's start with Lepi. If you don't have login credentials, Laura, do you have the link to the ticket system? I think it's Evo Help, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just click this.
Yeah.
I think it's http://bit.ly/capitals EVOHELP. Let's see if I remembered it properly. Yes, I did. Okay, so we have this ticketing system, and in the case of needing login credentials, the way to do that is to just go into the current student inquiry. Just tell us the problem is you need a login student, you're a parent, give your child's student number and their name. You don't have to fill in the class. It's only the two with the red, it's only the things with the red dots. We know which class your child is in, and then just say, please, will you send us, and click send. That falls into our ticketing system, and our ticketing system is managed by a number of people, and there's a dashboard there where we can see how we're doing on the calls, and so you can see all the different tickets that are live, and we're able to keep track of as tickets come in, how many of them still need to be resolved. I see today, I know that there's still 17 out of 27 issues today, and I'm sure that many of those are mine because I've been working throughout the day and I haven't had a chance to get to this. As you can see, we've had a total of 1,002 tickets raised with us so far. We currently have 50 issues that haven't been resolved, and 28% of them belong to me. So I know what I'm doing after this webinar is getting onto that. Okay, so use the ticketing system, please, because then we can track and make sure that things are followed up on.